Good morning, this is Charlie Stocker. We're into hot and heavy raised bed gardening. Yesterday, if you watched the program, this is I think our 6th program on raised bed gardening. They're all about 3 minutes so you can digest them without any trouble. We talked about some of the materials that you can use that are conducive to building a raised bed. And we said untreated lumber, such as cypress, such as cedar, such as oak, black locust, but make sure it's untreated. Expensive, but it lasts a long time. You can use pine. Pine is inexpensive, but doesn't last as long. You can use the treated lumber. Just make sure it says ACQ, because it's copper that is in preserving it, and it really doesn't get into the soil per se. In addition to the treated lumber, another thing you can consider are concrete blocks. And that's really no problem with concrete blocks, but as they break down, they give off kind of a fly ash made out of Portland cement. Not always the best thing, so just kind of research that and look at it. Still another thing that people are using for raised bed gardens are straw bales. And straw bales are great. They do bring to a degree of weed seed in, depending on where you got the straw bales from, but they will work nicely to raise your bed up to the 18 inches that you're looking for, but you're going to have to replace those probably every 2 years, but you can then use them in your compost pile. Brick or stone is also a good means of raising your soil level, where you can control the health of it and the drainage of it, but brick and stone can also be very expensive. Tires, old tires that you can get a hold of, I would not recommend at all. I don't like the idea of tires, nor do I like the idea of railroad ties. They have chemicals in them, and to a degree they're inert, but it's just something that you don't want to deal with in the whole concept of raised bed gardens. Probably one of the best that I want you to hear me say are the pre-made kits. The pre-made kits are somewhat portable. They're snap-on kind of things, almost like Lincoln Logs, if you remember what the Lincoln Logs were. And they work very nicely, and they're not that expensive, and you can build on them. You can build compartments out of them that are very sturdy. So know that the pre-made kits that they're now developing more and more and refining them are something that you really possibly should consider. So in building your raised beds, those are the materials you can use, and you always want to consider the movement of the water, and that's one of the reasons you raise the beds. Don't use nails, use wood screws if you have wood, and drill the holes, and don't obviously use nails, but 3-inch wood screws are your best means of doing it. Break up the ground on the surface before installing your soil, and about every 4 foot on the inside of your raised beds, do a 2x4 or a 4x4 sunk into the ground to create, if you're using wood, to create stability on the inside of that bed where it doesn't start bowing on you over a period of time. That's all we have the time for today. We've looked at the materials and just about every other aspect. Now this next session is going to be on what type of soil do you put into the bed. Most important one. This is Charlie Stocker with HeyGardenGuy.com, raising your garden IQ one question at a time.